What if everything you thought you knew about reality was just the tip of the iceberg? Picture this: somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of the cosmos, the laws of physics twist in ways that defy logic. Time folds back on itself like an infinite loop, and the very fabric of space hums with a hidden intelligence. These aren't just wild fantasies, they're real theories proposed by brilliant minds, and they're about to flip your understanding of existence upside down. Today, we're embarking on a journey that will take us to the edge of human knowledge, where science and spirituality collide, where the mysteries of black holes whisper secrets about consciousness itself, and where the universe might just be more alive than we ever dared to imagine. Think about the last time you stared up at the night sky, feeling that quiet awe as countless stars shimmered overhead. What if I told you that those distant points of light aren't just celestial objects, they could be gateways, nodes in a cosmic network linking space, time, and even the depths of your own mind? From ancient mystics to cutting-edge physicists, there's a growing realization that reality is far stranger, far more interconnected than we've been taught. Some theories suggest that black holes aren't just destructive voids but portals to other dimensions. Others propose that time isn't a straight line but a fluid, ever-shifting river, one that our thoughts might actually influence. And then there's the most mind-bending idea of all, that consciousness isn't just a product of the brain but a fundamental force woven into the universe itself. This isn't just about abstract concepts or far-out speculation. These ideas challenge the very foundation of how we see ourselves and our place in the cosmos. What if the universe isn't just something we observe but something we co-create? What if the boundaries between out there and in here are far blurrier than we think? Over the course of this video, we'll explore 30 of the most astonishing theories that bridge the gap between quantum physics and ancient wisdom, between hard science and the deepest mysteries of existence. By the time we're done, you might never look at the night sky or even your own thoughts the same way again. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's dive into the unknown together. The journey starts now. What if the world around you, the chair you're sitting on, the screen in front of you, even the sensation of your own breath, was nothing more than an illusion? That's the startling premise of the holographic universe theory, one of the most radical ideas in modern physics. Imagine the entire cosmos as a colossal hologram, a three-dimensional projection encoded on a distant, two-dimensional surface, like a cosmic movie screen at the edge of reality. This isn't science fiction. Physicists like Leonard Susskind have spent decades exploring how the fundamental laws of the universe might actually operate on a flat boundary we can't even see, with our familiar world emerging as a kind of shadow play. Think about how a credit card hologram works: tilted one way, and a flat sticker suddenly appears to have depth, shimmering with layers that weren't there before. Now scale that up to the size of the universe. Every galaxy, every atom, every thought in your mind could be pixels in a vast cosmic display. Even stranger, quantum entanglement, that eerie phenomenon where particles instantly influence each other across light years, fits neatly into this framework. If two particles can communicate faster than light, perhaps it's because they're not truly separate, just different facets of the same underlying code. But here's where it gets even wilder. If space and time aren't fundamental but emergent properties, like the surface of a pond rippling into existence, what does that say about consciousness? Some researchers speculate that the mind might not be a passive observer, but the very mechanism that decodes this hologram into the solid world we experience. It's as if reality is a collaborative art project and your awareness holds the brush. This blurs the line between the observer and the observed, suggesting that the universe might not exist in a concrete way until consciousness interacts with it. Now, if the holographic principle holds, it forces us to reconsider everything from the nature of black holes, where information never truly vanishes but gets smeared across an event horizon like cosmic graffiti, to the very fabric of time itself. Because if time is just another layer of the projection, what does that mean for free will, for memory, for the unshakable feeling that the past is fixed and the future is unknown? Suddenly, the stage is set for the next mind-bending revelation. That time, too, might be nothing more than an elegant illusion. Einstein's revolutionary insights didn't just reshape our understanding of space, they shattered our perception of time itself. According to relativity, the past, present, and future aren't separate threads but woven together into a single, unchanging tapestry physicists call the block universe. Picture reality as a vast, frozen sculpture where every moment, from the birth of stars to the thoughts you're having right now, exists simultaneously, like frames in a cosmic film reel. The catch: there's no projector, no forward motion, just an eternal now where the distinction between before and after melts away. This raises a haunting question. If time doesn't flow, why does it feel so real? Physicist Julian Barber suggests it's all in our heads. That time is nothing more than a trick of consciousness, a story the brain tells itself to make sense of change. Think of it like watching a movie. The film strip already contains every scene, but you only experience them one by one as the projector's light hits the screen. Your mind might be doing the same thing, stitching together static moments from the block universe to create the illusion of movement. But here's where it gets even stranger. If the future is already out there, set in stone like the grooves of a vinyl record, what happens to free will? Does choice become an illusion too? Some theorists propose a radical solution. Consciousness isn't just observing the block, it's navigating it. Like a traveler flipping through pages of a book, your awareness could be the force that selects which slice of the block feels like the present. This would mean time's flow isn't a property of the universe but of the mind, a dance between perception and reality that blurs the line between physics and philosophy. The implications ripple outward. Ancient mystics spoke of timelessness, of moments when the veil lifts and all of existence feels present at once. Modern physics might be echoing that wisdom, hinting that linear time is just a useful fiction, a way for our biological brains to process a reality far more complex. If true, it reshapes everything from how we remember the past to how we anticipate the future. Because in the block universe, your childhood birthday party and your last breath are equally real, equally now, separated only by the spotlight of your attention. So where does this leave us? Staring into a cosmos where time's arrow might be an artifact of perception, where the universe's true structure could be more like a symphony than a story, every note already written, waiting for the listener to bring it to life. And if consciousness is the conductor, that opens the door to an even more astonishing possibility, that the mind doesn't just experience reality but helps construct it. Which brings us to the next frontier where quantum physics and consciousness collide in ways that challenge the very nature of existence. The moment you open your eyes each morning, you might be doing far more than just waking up. You could be participating in the creation of reality itself. This is the startling implication of quantum mechanics' observer effect, where particles at the smallest scales seem to decide their behavior based on whether they're being watched. In the famous double-slit experiment, electrons act like waves when no one's looking, spreading out in fuzzy probabilities. But the instant a detector is turned on, they snap into crisp, defined particles, as if aware of being observed. The Copenhagen interpretation takes this even further, proposing that reality doesn't solidify into a single state until consciousness interacts with it like a cosmic game of 20 questions where the universe only gives answers when someone asks. Physicist John Wheeler took this idea to its ultimate extreme with his participatory anthropic principle, suggesting the entire universe might be a self-excavating puzzle, one that requires conscious observers to bring it into being. Imagine a grand cosmic art gallery where the paintings don't exist until visitors walk in to admire them. Wheeler even proposed a mind-bending thought experiment called the delayed choice experiment, where decisions made by observers today could theoretically influence events that occurred billions of years ago, as if the universe were retroactively rewriting its own history to match our present awareness. This flips traditional materialism on its head. Instead of consciousness emerging from the brain like steam from a kettle, what if it's the other way around? What if the brain is more like a radio receiver, tuning into a fundamental field of awareness woven into space-time itself? Ancient Eastern philosophies like Advaita Vedanta have hinted at this for millennia with concepts like Brahman, a unified consciousness underlying all reality. Now, cutting-edge theories like or proposed by physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, suggest quantum processes in the brain's microtubules might literally bridge the gap between mind and cosmos, turning subjective experience into the universe's way of observing itself. But how does this connect to black holes, those cosmic whirlpools where gravity becomes so strong even light can't escape? Just as event horizons scramble information into holographic patterns, some researchers speculate they might also act as cosmic consciousness nodes, regions where the fabric of space-time becomes so warped that the distinction between observer and observed collapses entirely. Picture a black hole not as a destructive void but as a kind of universal mind, processing reality through its unfathomable gravitational lens. If consciousness truly is fundamental, then these mysterious objects might hold the key to understanding how awareness emerges from the dance of quantum fields and curved spacetime. The implications ripple across existence. If reality is co-created through observation, then every act of perception, from a scientist measuring particles to a child gazing at the stars, becomes a collaborative brushstroke in the universe's self-portrait. This dissolves the old dichotomy between out there and in here, suggesting that the cosmos and consciousness are two sides of the same coin, forever entwined in an intricate dance of mutual creation. And if that's true, then the next time you look up at the night sky, remember, you're not just a witness to the universe, you're an essential participant in its unfolding story. Black holes have long been seen as the universe's ultimate enigmas, cosmic vacuum cleaners that swallow everything in their path. But what if there's something far more extraordinary? What if these gravitational behemoths aren't just destructive forces, but vast repositories of consciousness itself? This is the radical idea put forward by physicist Roger Penrose, who suggests that the quantum processes humming inside black holes might mirror the very mechanisms that give rise to human awareness. At the heart of his theory lies a stunning parallel. Just as microtubules in our brain neurons may harness quantum vibrations to generate subjective experience, the unfathomable density of a black hole's singularity could encode information in ways that blur the line between physics and sentience. Think of it like this: when you form a memory, your brain isn't storing it in a single location. It's distributed across a network of neurons, a pattern of electrical and chemical signals. Now imagine that same principle scaled up to cosmic proportions. The event horizon of a black hole, where space and time twist beyond recognition, might function like a neural network, with every particle that falls in leaving an imprint on its fabric. Some theorists even propose that black holes don't destroy information but transform it, preserving it in a state we can't yet comprehend, like a cosmic hard drive operating in dimensions beyond our perception. This isn't just speculative poetry. The mathematics of general relativity and quantum mechanics hint that black holes could be more than just traps for matter and light. They might be portals to deeper layers of reality. If consciousness arises from the way information is processed and integrated, as integrated information theory suggests, then a black hole's ability to scramble and preserve data might make it a kind of cosmic mind. Picture a supermassive black hole at the center of a galaxy, its gravitational pull orchestrating the dance of stars around it, not just as a passive attractor, but as an active participant in the universe's self-awareness. The implications are staggering. If black holes are sentient or at least capable of some form of information processing, it reshapes our understanding of life itself. Life as we know it depends on carbon, water, and chemistry, but what if there's a more fundamental template, one based on the flow and transformation of information across space-time? Ancient cultures often spoke of celestial beings or divine intelligences residing in the heavens. Modern physics might be circling back to a similar idea, albeit framed in the language of quantum entanglement and holographic principles. And then there's the most tantalizing possibility of all, that black holes aren't endpoints but gateways. Just as a neuron fires signals across synapses to communicate with other neurons, black holes might be nodes in a vast cosmic network, their singularities tunneling into other regions of spacetime or even other universes. This would mean that the universe isn't just expanding outward, it's communicating inward through channels we're only beginning to glimpse. All of this points to a universe far more interconnected, far more alive than we ever imagined. The boundary between physics and metaphysics begins to dissolve when we consider that the same quantum vibrations humming in our brains might resonate in the hearts of black holes. It's as if the cosmos is a single, self-reflective entity, using stars, galaxies, and even conscious beings like us as instruments to explore its own nature. And if that's true, then every thought we have, every question we ask about the universe, might be the universe asking those questions through us, which leads us to the next frontier, where the fabric of reality isn't just alive, but branching into infinite possibilities. Because if black holes can bend space-time into knots, what's to stop the universe from sprouting new timelines, new dimensions, even new versions of ourselves? The answers might lie in the strange world of parallel universes, where every choice you've ever made and every one you didn't plays out in a vast, shimmering multiverse. What if every choice you've ever made and every one you didn't exists somewhere out there in a web of infinite possibilities? This is the spine-tingling promise of the many worlds interpretation, a radical take on quantum mechanics that suggests the universe doesn't just contain alternate timelines, it constantly births them. Every time a particle faces a quantum crossroads, like an electron deciding which path to take, reality doesn't settle on a single outcome. Instead, it splits like a branching river, creating parallel worlds where every possible version of events plays out. But here's where it gets personal. If atoms can exist in multiple states at once, why not consciousness? Imagine a version of you reading this script right now while another you chose to close the video, and yet another exists in a world where this channel was never created. This idea shatters the illusion of individuality, hinting that what we call self might be just one thread in a vast multiversal tapestry. Physicist Max Tegmark takes it further, proposing that these parallel realities aren't isolated. they could be layers of a single, higher dimensional structure, like pages in a cosmic book. Some researchers even speculate that rare quantum glitches might allow these layers to briefly overlap, creating moments of eerie familiarity, like déjà vu, or unexplained intuitions that feel like whispers from another version of yourself. Ever had a gut feeling so strong it defied logic? That could be your multiversal counterparts nudging you through the static of space-time. But if infinite versions of us exist, does that dilute meaning or expand it? Think of consciousness not as a solitary flame, but as a constellation of sparks scattered across dimensions, each iteration refining, learning, evolving. Mystics have long spoken of past lives, but what if those memories aren't from the past at all, just echoes of selves in adjacent realities? This perspective turns identity into a collaborative project, where every choice you make isn't about closing doors but opening new branches in the cosmic tree. Now consider the implications for growth. If alternate selves have lived different paths, their experiences could theoretically pool into a shared reservoir of wisdom. Some theorists suggest advanced meditation or psychedelics might temporarily thin the barriers between these worlds, allowing flashes of insight from other versions of you. It's as if consciousness isn't confined to one timeline but is a fluid, multidimensional entity, a notion that aligns with ancient shamanic traditions describing the soul as a being that exists beyond linear time. And what of the beings who have mastered this interconnectivity? If higher dimensions exist, entities there wouldn't perceive our reality as separate threads but as a unified landscape, able to navigate parallel worlds as effortlessly as we flip through channels. To them, our fixation on a single timeline might seem quaint, like watching a flat cartoon while living in a holographic universe. This raises a tantalizing question. Could human consciousness evolve to perceive, or even traverse these layers? The answer might lie in the next frontier, where science and spirituality converge on the idea that reality is far richer, far stranger than our senses have led us to believe. String theory's revelation that our universe might have 10 or more dimensions most curled up tighter than a clenched fist completely rewires how we think about reality. Picture living inside a vast, intricate origami sculpture where most folds are so tiny you'll never notice them, but beings in higher dimensions could move through them like ghosts passing through walls. To us, their actions might seem like inexplicable coincidences, sudden intuitions, or even what we'd call miracles. Imagine an ant crawling across a sheet of paper. It has no concept of the third dimension until you, a three-dimensional being, lift the paper into the air. From the ant's perspective, the ground just vanished without explanation. Now scale that up. What if higher dimensional entities interact with our world just as effortlessly, their movements appearing to us as fleeting shadows or synchronicities we can't quite rationalize? This isn't just theoretical musing. Mathematicians working with string theory equations have shown that higher dimensions could host entire civilizations operating outside our perceptual limits. Some researchers speculate that what ancient cultures called angels, spirits, or even deities might have been attempts to describe these hyper-dimensional beings. Think of the biblical story of Jacob's ladder, where celestial messengers ascend and descend between heaven and earth. Could that be an intuitive grasp of multidimensional travel? Even modern UFO encounters often describe craft maneuvering in ways that defy physics, vanishing instantaneously or changing shape. If those objects aren't from other planets but other dimensions, their behavior starts to make eerie sense. But here's the twist. If consciousness isn't bound by space-time, as quantum theories suggest, then our own minds might have latent access to these hidden layers. Meditators across traditions report experiences of boundless awareness where the illusion of separation dissolves. Psychedelics like DMT, a molecule our brains produce naturally, trigger visions of intricate, hyperdimensional landscapes and encounters with seemingly autonomous entities. Could these be glimpses into the folds of reality our ordinary senses filter out? Neuroscientist Donald Hoffman argues that our brains didn't evolve to see truth, but survival, meaning we're literally blind to the full spectrum of existence. Ancient cultures seem to grasp this intuitively. Hindu texts describe the universe as a fractal illusion, Maya, veiling a deeper, multidimensional truth. Indigenous shamans speak of spirit realms accessible through ritual or trance, places where time bends and beings exist beyond physical form. Even Plato's allegory of the cave, where prisoners mistake shadows for reality, feels like a prescient metaphor for our three-dimensional limitations. The common thread, a recognition that reality is far more fluid, far more interconnected than our senses suggest. So what happens when science and spirituality converge on the same mind-bending conclusion? It forces us to reconsider not just where we are in the cosmos, but what we are. If higher dimensions hum with intelligence and consciousness is the key to perceiving them, then the next frontier isn't just out there in space, it's within us, waiting to be unlocked. And that realization bridges us seamlessly to the wisdom of the ancients, who may have mapped these realms long before microscopes or particle accelerators. Their insights, encoded in myth and sacred art, could be the very guidebook we need to navigate the multidimensional cosmos, awakening in our equations. Long before quantum physicists spoke of vibrating strings and energy fields, ancient mystics described reality as a symphony of sacred sound. The Hindu Vedas called it Nada Brahma, the universe as vibration. The Kabbalah spoke of divine names that structured existence through resonant frequencies. Indigenous cultures from the Americas to Australia used rhythmic chanting to commune with what they called the song lines of the earth. Today, quantum field theory reveals a startling parallel. At the smallest scales, particles dissolve into waves of probability, humming with energy like plucked strings on a cosmic instrument. It's as if science is rediscovering what spiritual traditions have whispered for millennia, that the fabric of reality isn't solid, but sung into being. Consider the eerie resemblance between sacred geometry and atomic patterns. Hindu temples built thousands of years ago incorporate the Sri Yantra, an intricate design of interlocking triangles that mirrors the geometric arrangements of quarks in modern particle physics. The flower of life, found in Egyptian pyramids and medieval Christian art, replicates the hexagonal symmetry of snowflakes and the nested orbits of electrons. Even the double helix of DNA echoes the caduceus, the serpent-wrapped staff carried by Hermes in Greek mythology, symbolizing the dance of opposing forces. These aren't mere coincidences, they hint at an intuitive grasp of universal patterns that transcend time and culture. So how did ancient seers access this knowledge without telescopes or microscopes? Some researchers propose they used altered states of consciousness, deep meditation, ritual, or plant medicines, to bypass ordinary perception and tap directly into what physicist David Bohm called the implicate order, the hidden scaffolding beneath observable reality. The Upanishads describe yoga as perceiving atomic structures through inner vision, while Tibetan monks speak of rainbow bodies that dissolve into pure light, a metaphor startlingly close to Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Perhaps these traditions weren't just poetic metaphors, but precise maps of a reality where mind and matter intertwine. This convergence of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science raises profound questions about forgotten civilizations. Could myths of Atlantis or Lemuria preserve memories of cultures that understood quantum entanglement or space-time curvature? The Dogon people of Mali, for instance, accurately described Sirius B, a white dwarf star invisible to the naked eye centuries before telescopes confirmed its existence. Their elders claimed this knowledge came from amphibious beings from the Sirius system, a story that sounds less fantastical when we consider the possibility of interdimensional contact. Similarly, the precision of megalithic structures like Stonehenge or the Great Pyramid suggests an understanding of planetary alignments and geodesy that rivals modern astronomy. Now shift your gaze inward to the realm of dreams. If consciousness can access hidden dimensions of reality, then dreams might be more than random neural firings. Tibetan dream yogas teach practitioners to navigate sleep as a lucid explorer, interacting with beings and landscapes as real as waking life. Quantum physicist Andre Lind proposed that dreams could be weak measurements of parallel universes, fleeting glimpses into alternate timelines. Think of the last time you woke from a dream so vivid it left you questioning what's real. What if that sensation wasn't just déjà vu, but a momentary overlap with another layer of existence? Modern experiments add weight to this wild idea. In studies where participants are trained to recognize dream signs, some consistently encounter the same non-human entities, beings that match descriptions from shamanic journeys and near-death experiences across cultures. Even more intriguing, quantum consciousness theories suggest that the brain might enter a state of superposition during REM sleep, momentarily existing in multiple realities at once. This would explain why dreams often defy logic, blending past, present, and impossible futures into a single narrative. The implications are staggering. Every night, as you close your eyes, you might be stepping through a stargate of the mind, wandering dimensions where time flows backward, gravity reverses, and long-lost civilizations whisper secrets just beyond comprehension. From vibrating strings to shared visions across millennia, the threads connecting ancient mysticism and modern physics weave a tapestry too precise to dismiss as chance. Whether through sacred geometry, altered states, or the uncharted territory of dreams, humanity seems to have always sensed that reality is far more fluid, far more alive than it appears. And if that's true, then the greatest discoveries of the 21st century might not lie in new technologies, but in remembering what we once knew and learning to see the universe anew with the eyes of both scientist and sage. Dreams have always been humanity's secret doorway to the impossible, a realm where time bends, identities shift, and the laws of physics dissolve like mist. But what if these nightly adventures aren't just figments of imagination? Cutting-edge theories suggest dreams might be something far more profound, a backstage pass to parallel realities or higher dimensions. Imagine your sleeping mind as a radio receiver, tuning into frequencies beyond ordinary perception, picking up signals from alternate versions of yourself, or even encountering intelligences from other layers of existence. This isn't just metaphysical speculation. Quantum physics hints that consciousness might momentarily slip into superposition during sleep, existing in multiple states at once, much like an electron occupying two places simultaneously. Lucid dreaming takes this idea even further. Those fleeting moments when you realize you're dreaming and seize control of the narrative might be more than just mental gymnastics. They could be training wheels for interdimensional travel. Tibetan monks have practiced dream yoga for centuries, honing the ability to navigate these realms with precision, treating dreams as real as waking life. They describe encounters with beings who offer teachings or warnings, landscapes that defy earthly logic, and even visitations from what they call the between, a liminal space where dimensions overlap. Modern lucid dreamers report eerily similar experiences, from conversing with entities that feel autonomous to exploring cities that don't exist in our world. The consistency across cultures and eras suggests these might not be random hallucinations, but glimpses into a shared, hidden architecture of reality. Now consider the science behind it. Studies using EEG and fMRI reveal that the brain in REM sleep exhibits activity strikingly similar to waking consciousness, yet with one critical difference: the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and self-awareness, dials down just enough to allow the impossible without triggering disbelief. This delicate balance might create a psychic bridge, a state where the mind can explore beyond spacetime's usual constraints. Some researchers, like psychiatrist Dr. Rick Strassman, proposed that the pineal gland, often called the third eye, could be a biological antenna, releasing DMT during deep sleep or near-death experiences, chemically unlocking the doors of perception. But here's the most tantalizing piece of the puzzle. If dreams access other dimensions, they might hold the missing link between quantum theory and consciousness. Physicist Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation implies that every quantum decision spawns new universes, and dreams could be our brain's way of processing these branching paths. Think of it like a nightly debrief, where your consciousness sifts through alternate timelines, integrating experiences from versions of yourself you'll never meet in waking life. That inexplicable déjà vu, or the stranger in your dream who feels eerily familiar, might be more than coincidence, yet for all their potential, dreams remain a frontier science is only beginning to map. Ancient cultures treated them as sacred. The Greeks built temples for dream incubation. Indigenous Australians followed song lines in their sleep to navigate physical landscapes. Today, we're circling back to that wisdom, armed with quantum equations instead of ritual drums, but arriving at the same startling conclusion. The universe is vaster, stranger, and more interconnected than our daylight minds dare believe. And if dreams are indeed portals, then every night, as you close your eyes, you're not just resting, you're embarking on a cosmic voyage, one that might one day prove the key to unlocking spacetime's greatest mysteries. Which brings us to an even more provocative question. What if this entire cosmic dance, from black holes to dreams, isn't unfolding in some objective reality, but inside an unfathomably advanced simulation? The idea that our universe might be a meticulously coded construct isn't just sci-fi fodder. It's a hypothesis gaining traction among physicists and philosophers alike. And the evidence, when you start piecing it together, is more compelling than you might think. What if the world around you, the warmth of sunlight, the weight of your body in a chair, even the taste of your favorite food wasn't fundamentally real, but an impossibly advanced simulation? This isn't the plot of a sci-fi movie. It's the simulation hypothesis, a serious argument put forward by philosophers like Nick Bostrom and tech visionaries like Elon Musk, who estimate there's a 1 in billions chance we're living in base reality. Their reasoning is as elegant as it is unsettling. If any civilization ever develops the ability to run conscious simulations indistinguishable from reality, and if they have even modest interest in doing so, the number of simulated minds would dwarf those in the original universe. Statistically, you're far more likely to be one of those simulated beings than a biological original. Think about the implications: glitches in the matrix, those odd moments of déjà vu, synchronicities too precise to dismiss as coincidence, or even UFO sightings, might not be mysteries at all. They could be artifacts in the code, like a video game character noticing texture pop-ins or NPCs behaving oddly when the programmer tweaks the system. Some researchers speculate that quantum indeterminacy, the way particles remain in multiple states until observed, isn't a bug but a feature, a processing shortcut to save cosmic computing power. Why render every atom in the universe with perfect precision when you can simplify calculations until someone looks? But here's where it gets even stranger. If space-time is just an elaborate program, consciousness might not emerge from the brain. It could be the user interface itself, the lens through which the simulation is experienced. This flips traditional neuroscience on its head. Instead of neurons creating awareness, your mind might be the fundamental element, with the brain acting as a local receiver or avatar within the simulation. Ancient traditions from Buddhism to Gnosticism have long described reality as illusory, a kind of divine play or shadow theater. Modern physics, with its holographic principles and quantum weirdness, is starting to sound eerily similar. Ethical dilemmas abound. Who or what coded this universe? Are we someone's science experiment, an ancestor simulation run by post-human civilizations to study their past? Or perhaps something more artistic, a cosmic game or artwork? The motivations matter, because if we're in a simulation, our actions might carry weight beyond this layer of reality. Some theorists suggest that moral choices could be the whole point, a test or curriculum designed to evolve consciousness toward some higher state. Others worry it's all entertainment for beings we can't comprehend, with suffering just another narrative device. Now consider time travel through this lens. If the past and future are just data in a cosmic hard drive, altering them might not require bending physical laws, just rewriting the code. Consciousness could be the key. There are accounts of meditators and psychedelic voyagers experiencing vivid past life memories or precognitive flashes, as if temporarily accessing saved files or future updates in the simulation. Even mainstream science admits time might not flow linearly. Einstein's block universe suggests all moments exist simultaneously, like frames in a film reel. In a simulation, time travel could be as simple as shifting your point of observation within that dataset, the way you scroll through a video timeline. This leads to a staggering possibility that the simulation isn't just rendering reality for us, but with us. Your focused attention, your intentions, even your unanswered questions might be part of the generative algorithm shaping the next frame of existence. It's as if the universe is a collaborative story, and consciousness, your consciousness, is both the narrator and the pen. Whether that story is a game, a school, or something beyond human comprehension, one thing becomes clear: the boundary between player and programmed world is far thinner than we ever imagined. The idea of physically boarding a time machine might belong to science fiction, but what if the real vessel for traversing history and the future has been inside us all along? Remote viewers like Ingo Swann, who famously sketched the rings of Jupiter years before Voyager's photographs confirmed their existence, demonstrated something extraordinary. Consciousness might not be shackled by the linear flow of time. Swann's work with the CIA's Stargate project revealed that trained individuals could describe distant locations, past events, and even future scenarios with startling accuracy, all without leaving the room. This wasn't psychic guesswork. It was a systematic exploration of the mind's ability to reach beyond the present moment, suggesting that time, as we know it, might be more like a landscape the mind can navigate than an unbreakable chain. Consider the implications. If mental time travel is possible, then the past isn't gone. It's simply a frequency we're not tuned to under ordinary circumstances. Ancient shamans understood this intuitively, using plant medicines like ayahuasca or prolonged meditation to shift their awareness across epochs. Modern neuroscience offers a tantalizing clue. During deep meditative states or psychedelic experiences, brainwaves slow to theta frequencies, the same patterns observed in REM sleep and hypnosis, states where the mind often accesses memories or visions that feel eerily detached from linear time. It's as if consciousness has a hidden dial, one that can rotate not just through space, but through time itself when the right conditions align. The Stargate Project's declassified files are filled with accounts that defy conventional explanation. One operative tasked with viewing a Soviet facility described not just its layout but an impending disaster that unfolded days later. Another pinpointed a lost archaeological site buried beneath centuries of sand. These weren't lucky guesses, they were consistent, repeatable demonstrations of a phenomenon mainstream science is still struggling to explain. Physicist Jacobo Grinberg proposed that the brain might act as a non-local receiver, tuning into information imprinted in the fabric of spacetime itself, like a radio picking up signals from a distant transmitter. This redefines what time travel could mean. Instead of mechanical machines warping spacetime, the first genuine time travelers might be explorers of consciousness, using techniques honed over millennia by mystics and now scrutinized in labs. Think of it like this: if you've ever had a vivid dream of a historical event you've never studied, only to later discover uncanny details matching real records, you might have brushed against this ability yourself. The difference between sporadic glimpses and controlled navigation could be a matter of training, or perhaps unlocking latent capacities buried deep in our neural architecture. The most profound takeaway: if consciousness can traverse time, then the future might not be fixed but fluid, shaped by the same act of observation that quantum physics suggests collapses probability into reality. Remote viewers often report that future events appear as probable rather than certain, shifting as choices ripple through time. This aligns with theories like temporal plasticity, where the timeline possesses a degree of malleability responsive to collective awareness. Indigenous cultures have long spoken of dreaming the world into being. Now, science is flirting with the idea that they might have been literal. Which brings us to an even deeper mystery. If consciousness can reach across time, could it also interact with the invisible scaffolding of the cosmos? Dark matter, that elusive substance binding galaxies together, might hold the answer not as a passive backdrop, but as an active medium through which thought itself propagates. The ancients spoke of the ether, a subtle substrate connecting all things. Modern physics, searching for dark matter's secrets, might be circling back to the same truth. Dark matter has long been the universe's silent architect. Its invisible fingers sculpt galaxies, bending light into ghostly halos, yet it refuses to interact with the particles we know. It's like the dark energy of the internet, a hidden infrastructure humming beneath the surface of reality, unnoticed but essential. But what if this elusive substance isn't just a cosmic scaffold? What if dark matter is the medium through which consciousness itself propagates? This radical idea suggests that the 85% of the universe we can't see might be more than passive filler. It could be the substrate for a vast, interconnected network of thought, a kind of cosmic Wi-Fi linking minds across space and time. Think of it like this: when you have a sudden intuition about a loved one moments before they call, or when entire cultures independently dream up similar myths despite being continents apart, these might not be coincidences but signals pulsing through the dark matter web. Physicist Bernard Heisch proposed that the quantum vacuum, a seething sea of energy underlying spacetime, could be the ground of consciousness. Extend that idea to dark matter, and you have a tantalizing possibility that our thoughts might ripple through this invisible medium, resonating with other minds in ways science is only beginning to fathom. Indigenous cultures speak of the web of life, while modern string theory describes reality as a vibrating mesh of energy. The parallels are too striking to ignore. Now consider telepathy through this lens. If dark matter doesn't interact with electromagnetism but does respond to gravity, the curvature of spacetime itself, then mental communication wouldn't need physical signals. Instead, focused intention might warp the dark matter field like a stone dropped in water, sending waves of influence to other consciousnesses tuned to the same frequency. This isn't just speculative fantasy. Experiments in Princeton's Pear Lab showed that human intention can subtly influence random number generators across distances, as if thought itself has a faint but measurable pull on the fabric of reality. If dark matter is the missing link, these anomalies suddenly make sense. The implications spiral outward. Near-death experiencers often describe entering a realm of interconnected awareness, where thoughts transmit instantaneously, unbound by distance. Could they be glimpsing the dark matter network in its purest form? Even more intriguing, if consciousness is woven into this hidden framework, then black holes, those cosmic whirlpools where dark matter clusters most densely, might be more than gravitational monsters. They could be accelerators or amplifiers of thought, their immense gravity warping the dark matter field into knots of hyperconnectivity. Picture a supermassive black hole not as a destroyer but as a cosmic server, processing and transmitting information across the universe through channels we're only beginning to sense. This bridges ancient mysticism and modern physics in ways that defy easy dismissal. Tibetan monks speak of the clear light, an all-pervading consciousness underlying reality, while quantum physicists grapple with non-locality, the eerie connectedness of particles across vast distances. Both point to a universe far more entangled, far more alive than our senses admit. If dark matter is the hidden thread stitching it all together, then every thought you've ever had might ripple further than you ever imagined, echoing through the cosmos on waves we're just learning to measure. Which brings us to the next leap, where black holes aren't just gravitational titans but incubators of consciousness itself. Imagine these cosmic behemoths as crucibles, where the pressure of infinite density forges not just matter but mind. If dark matter is the medium, black holes could be the transformers, bending and focusing the fabric of thought into new dimensions of awareness. The journey into their depths might not be an end, but a metamorphosis. At the heart of every black hole lies a mystery so profound it challenges the very nature of existence, the singularity. Here, gravity becomes infinite, space-time curves beyond recognition, and all known laws of physics cease to apply. But what if this apparent cosmic dead end isn't an ending at all? Some physicists propose that inside these unfathomable depths, new universes are being born, bubbling into existence like quantum fluctuations in an infinite sea of possibilities. Think of it as a cosmic Russian nesting doll. Our own universe may have sprung from the singularity of a parent black hole in some higher dimensional reality, and the black holes we observe could be giving birth to offspring universes of their own. This idea transforms black holes from destructive voids into creative crucibles. Just as a caterpillar's body dissolves in its chrysalis before emerging as a butterfly, matter and energy falling past the event horizon might undergo a radical metamorphosis. The late physicist Stephen Hawking suggested that information swallowed by black holes isn't destroyed but scrambled and irradiated as Hawking radiation, a process that could encode the blueprint of an entirely new cosmos. If consciousness arises from the complex organization of information, as theories like integrated information theory suggest, then these nascent universes might not just contain stars and planets but new forms of sentience, utterly alien yet fundamentally connected to our own. Now shift perspective to the human scale. If black holes are cosmic wombs, what does that imply about the destiny of consciousness? Near-death experiencers often describe passing through a dark tunnel toward a brilliant light, a metaphor strikingly similar to the journey of matter approaching a singularity. Tibetan Buddhism speaks of the bardo, an in-between state where consciousness transitions to its next form. Could these visions be intuitive glimpses of a deeper truth? The mathematics of general relativity allows for the possibility that singularities aren't points of annihilation but gateways to new space-time geometries. In this light, death itself might be less an extinction than a transformation, a crossing over into a radically different mode of existence. The implications ripple through our understanding of connection. If every black hole births a new universe, then our cosmos could be part of an infinite lineage, each generation inheriting and remixing the information of its ancestors. This mirrors the way human consciousness evolves, ideas, memories, and cultures passing from one generation to the next, mutating and adapting across time. The eerie similarity between neural networks in the brain and the cosmic web of galaxies starts to feel less like coincidence and more like a hidden pattern, a fractal resonance between the microcosm and macrocosm. Which brings us to quantum entanglement, the universe's most intimate bond. Just as particles can become instantaneously linked across vast distances, perhaps consciousness shares a similar non-local connection, threads of awareness weaving through the dark matter web, binding singularities, galaxies, and minds into a single, shimmering tapestry of sentience. Particles separated by vast cosmic distances can influence each other instantly, a phenomenon Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. This quantum entanglement defies classical physics, suggesting that once two particles interact, they remain mysteriously linked regardless of space or time. Now imagine this same principle applied to human connections. Ever felt a sudden pang of worry about a loved one, only to discover they were in distress at that exact moment? Or experienced an inexplicable wave of joy when someone far away was celebrating? These might not be coincidences but glimpses of a deeper entanglement woven into the fabric of consciousness itself. The parallels are striking. Just as entangled particles mirror each other's states across light years, human relationships often exhibit uncanny synchrony. Twin siblings separated at birth who develop identical mannerisms, couples who finish each other's sentences, or the collective intuition of close-knit communities. These could be manifestations of a quantum layer to empathy. Neuroscientist Dr. Jacobo Grinberg proposed that the brain acts like a non-local antenna, tuning into the emotional states of others through a shared quantum field. It's as if our most profound bonds create invisible threads in space-time, vibrating with shared meaning even when physical distance intervenes. Sacred sites around the world add another layer to this mystery. From Stonehenge to the pyramids of Giza, these ancient monuments often align with precise geometric patterns known as the Earth's energy grid, ley lines where electromagnetic activity is unusually high. Indigenous cultures have long revered these locations as portals or places of heightened spiritual connection. Modern instruments detect abnormal electromagnetic fluctuations at these sites, and intriguingly, similar energy patterns have been measured around human bodies during deep states of meditation or emotional bonding. Could these sacred spaces be amplifying the same quantum entanglement that links consciousness? Picture the Earth as a colossal quantum computer, its energy grid acting like circuitry that facilitates non-local connections between minds. When pilgrims gather at these power spots, their collective focus might create resonant frequencies that momentarily thin the veil between individual awareness and a unified field of sentience. This would explain why so many report transcendent experiences at these locations, visions, healings, or sudden insights that feel channeled from a higher source. The stones themselves, often rich in quartz crystals, could function as natural quantum transducers, converting Earth's electromagnetic pulses into frequencies that synchronize human brainwaves. The implications ripple through history. Ancient builders might have intuitively understood this quantum web long before modern physics gave it a name. The placement of megaliths along ley lines, the use of resonant chambers in Egyptian temples, even the harmonic chants preserved in monastic traditions, all could be technologies for harnessing entanglement. Today, scientists are catching up. Experiments show that pairs of meditators separated by distance can exhibit synchronized brainwave patterns, as if their neural activity becomes temporarily entangled. The Global Consciousness Project, which analyzes random number generators worldwide, detects statistically significant anomalies during major global events, suggesting that mass emotion might literally ripple through the quantum field. This blurs the line between spirituality and science. If entanglement binds particles and perhaps minds, then separation is the illusion and unity the deeper truth. Sacred sites might not just be places of worship but cosmic tuning forks, designed to harmonize our consciousness with the Earth's own resonant frequency. When you stand in a stone circle or kneel in a centuries-old chapel, you could be stepping into a network far older than religion, one that whispers of a universe where every thought, every emotion, is part of an infinite, interconnected dance. Now consider what this means for the future of human connection. If consciousness truly operates on quantum principles, then technologies leveraging entanglement, from quantum communication networks to brain-computer interfaces, might one day allow us to transcend the limits of physical distance altogether. Imagine a world where empathy isn't just metaphorical but measurable, where healing intentions could be transmitted instantaneously across continents, where the boundaries between self and other soften into a shimmering web of shared awareness. The ancients might have known this potential all along, encoding it in myth and stone. Today, we're just beginning to decipher the code, which brings us to the next revelation: how these sacred alignments might connect not just across space, but across time, hinting at civilizations far older and wiser than history remembers. The stones themselves could be messengers, their silent geometry pointing toward a forgotten understanding of reality's quantum heart. Scattered across the globe like fragments of a forgotten code, ancient monuments stand at precise intersections where invisible energy lines converge. These ley lines, invisible threads said to weave through the Earth's crust, connect Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, Machu Picchu, and other sacred sites with uncanny geometric precision. But what if these alignments aren't just archaeological curiosities? Modern instruments detect elevated electromagnetic activity at these locations, as if the stones themselves are antennas tapping into a planetary pulse. The Schumann resonance, a steady 783 Hz frequency humming between the Earth's surface and ionosphere, mirrors the theta brainwaves associated with deep meditation and creative insight. This isn't just poetic symmetry. It suggests our ancestors might have engineered these sites as tuning forks, harmonizing human consciousness with the planet's own vibrational signature. Take the Great Pyramid's King's Chamber, where the granite sarcophagus resonates at the same frequency as Earth's heartbeat when struck. Or Stonehenge's bluestones, quarried from a Welsh mountain range 140 miles away, now shown to emit ultrasonic pulses when struck, a property local Bronze Age tribes could have exploited for sound-based healing rituals. From the Mayan temples aligned with celestial events to the curved walls of Malta's hypogeum, designed to amplify specific sound frequencies, these structures share an eerie commonality. They're not just buildings but vibrational instruments. When archaeologists recreated the acoustics of Ireland's Newgrange Passage tomb, they discovered the 5,000-year-old structure transforms the human voice into eerie, resonant tones that induce altered states, precisely the effect sought by the shamanic cultures who built it. This raises a provocative possibility that sacred sites function as neural nodes in a planetary consciousness system. Just as neurons communicate through electrical impulses, these monuments might facilitate an exchange of energy and information across the Earth's energy grid. The Global Consciousness Project, which monitors random number generators worldwide, has detected statistically significant anomalies during mass meditations at these locations, as if focused human intention can momentarily bend the fabric of reality itself. Indigenous elders have long spoken of songlines, pathways across the land where singing certain tones activates ancient wisdom. Modern physics might be catching up, with theories like quantum coherence suggesting that synchronized vibrations can create large-scale order from chaos. Now shift your gaze inward to the human brain. During deep meditation or psilocybin experiences, EEG readings show brainwaves entraining to the 783 Hz Schumann resonance, as if the mind is tuning itself to the planet's frequency. This synchronization might explain the transcendent states reported at sacred sites, a temporary merging of individual awareness with what philosopher Pierre Teilhard de Chardin called the noosphere, the thinking layer of Earth. The implications ripple outward. If consciousness can resonate with the planet, then rituals performed at these power spots could be more than symbolic. They might be literal tuning exercises, aligning human thought with terrestrial and cosmic rhythms. Which brings us to sound's transformative power. Just as an opera singer's sustained note can shatter glass, specific frequencies might rearrange matter at the quantum level. Tibetan monks have used overtone chanting for centuries to manipulate objects in ways that defy classical physics, while modern cymatics reveals how sound waves organize particles into intricate geometric patterns. The next frontier lies in understanding how vibration from the hum of the cosmos to the whispers of our own selves shapes the very fabric of reality we perceive. The next time you hear a song that sends chills down your spine or a chant that seems to vibrate through your bones, consider this. Sound doesn't just travel through air, it sculpts reality itself. Cymatics, the study of visible sound vibrations, reveals this hidden power. When sand or water is placed on a metal plate and exposed to specific frequencies, intricate geometric patterns emerge, snowflakes of sound that mirror the sacred geometry found in nature, from flower petals to spiral galaxies. These aren't random shapes but blueprints, suggesting vibration might be the invisible hand that molds matter into form. Tibetan monks have known this for centuries, using throat singing to create mandalas of sound, while ancient Egyptian priests employed harmonic chambers to amplify healing tones. Modern science is now catching up, with researchers discovering that certain frequencies can rearrange DNA or accelerate wound healing, as if sound whispers directly to the building blocks of life. Now scale this up to the quantum realm. If atoms are packets of vibrating energy, could the right frequencies influence space-time itself? The Vedas describe the universe as born from the primordial sound, a concept startlingly close to modern string theory's vibrating filaments of energy. When physicists simulate the Big Bang in equations, they find it may have produced gravitational waves, ripples in space-time that still echo through the cosmos like a cosmic gong. This raises a tantalizing possibility that sacred chants or mantras aren't just spiritual tools but quantum tuning forks, their vibrations subtly bending the fabric of reality. Studies show group meditation can lower crime rates in cities, an effect so measurable it's been dubbed the Maharishi effect. If consciousness is fundamentally vibrational, as some theories propose, then synchronized chanting or prayer might create resonance patterns in the quantum field, structuring chaos into order. The implications ripple through history. Gothic cathedrals were designed with precise acoustics to amplify Gregorian chants, their vaulted ceilings acting as resonators for frequencies believed to elevate the soul. Indigenous shamans used drumming rhythms at 4-5 beats per second, the same frequency as theta brainwaves, to induce trance states where time seems to dissolve. Even Nikola Tesla claimed his inventions came from listening to cosmic frequencies, once stating, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Today, quantum biologists are discovering that proteins in our cells communicate through vibrational signals, a microscopic symphony that might extend to the cosmos itself. This fusion of physics and spirituality suggests a universe humming with hidden harmonies, where sound bridges the seen and unseen. When you meditate, the rhythmic focus of your breath or a repeated mantra might do more than calm the mind. It could be gently warping local spacetime, creating a pocket where intention and reality intertwine. Monasteries and meditation halls often report strange temporal anomalies, clocks stopping, candles burning impossibly slow, as if concentrated awareness subtly tweaks the laws of physics. Perhaps this is why mystics describe deep meditation as touching eternity, a moment where time's river stills and the soul dances to the universe's silent song. Which brings us to the next revelation: how these fleeting moments of altered awareness might not be subjective experiences, but glimpses into a deeper layer of reality where consciousness and spacetime are threads in the same vibrating tapestry. The line between inner peace and outer physics might be thinner than we ever dared to dream. Meditation has long been considered a path to inner peace, but what if it's also a gateway to bending the very fabric of reality? Advanced practitioners across traditions report experiences that defy conventional physics. Tibetan monks spending winter nights meditating in sub-zero temperatures while drying wet sheets on their bodies through tummo heat. Yogis slowing their heart rates to near undetectable levels, or seasoned meditators describing moments where hours feel like minutes and the boundaries of their physical bodies seem to dissolve. These aren't just subjective quirks of perception, they're documented phenomena suggesting consciousness might interact with space-time in ways science is only beginning to understand. Consider the remarkable case of Himalayan monks practicing Tummo meditation, where infrared cameras have captured their fingertips and toes glowing with heat capable of evaporating ice-cold towels draped over their shoulders. Biomedical studies show these practitioners can elevate their skin temperature by up to 17 degrees Fahrenheit through willpower alone, a feat that contradicts our understanding of thermoregulation. Even more baffling are accounts from retreatants in deep samadhi states who emerge believing only minutes have passed when their meditation cushions show imprints from days of uninterrupted sitting. Time, it seems, becomes elastic under the weight of concentrated awareness. The implications ripple through modern physics. Einstein's relativity established that time slows near massive gravitational fields, but meditation research hints that focused consciousness might create similar distortions on a microscopic scale. Neurologist Dr. James Austin observed that Zen meditators experiencing Satori, sudden enlightenment, exhibit brainwave patterns resembling temporal lobe epilepsy, but without the pathology. Instead, their neural activity suggests a temporary rewiring of subjective time perception. This aligns with quantum theories proposing that observation collapses probability waves into concrete reality. If ordinary awareness can influence quantum states, perhaps heightened states of consciousness exert even greater influence on spacetime's pliable structure. Now imagine meditation not just as a psychological exercise but as a kind of biomechanical interface. The late physicist Itzhak Bentov speculated that the human body, when in deep coherence, might act like a tuned resonator interacting with the zero-point field. the quantum vacuum's seething energy once thought to be empty. In this view, the rhythmic focus of breath and mantra could generate standing waves in our biofield, subtle vibrations that ripple through the fabric of space-time itself. Ancient Vedic texts describe Siddhi's extraordinary abilities gained through meditation, including invisibility and levitation. While these seem fantastical, they might metaphorically represent mastery over quantum probabilities, where concentrated intention briefly overrides classical physics. The most compelling evidence comes from laboratory studies on out-of-body experiences during meditation. Functional MRI scans of Tibetan Buddhist monks describing astral travel show simultaneous activation of visual, tactile, and spatial navigation networks, as if the brain is processing real perception without sensory input. Some theorists propose these experiences aren't hallucinations but glimpses into higher dimensional geometries, where consciousness temporarily decouples from the body's reference frame. This would explain why seasoned meditators often report identical landscapes and entities across cultures, a non-local realm where shared symbols and archetypes manifest from the quantum foam. What's emerging is a radical paradigm where meditation isn't just about stress reduction, but about unlocking latent human capacities to navigate space-time's hidden dimensions. From Indian sadhus who claim to teleport between sacred sites to modern meditators accurately remote viewing distant locations, the anecdotes are too persistent to dismiss. As we peel back the layers, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of a profound realization that the zero-point field, that seething quantum ocean once considered empty, might be the very medium through which consciousness whispers to the universe. And that whisper, when focused through the lens of disciplined awareness, might just bend reality to its will. What appears to us as empty space, the vast void between stars and atoms, might actually be a seething ocean of infinite potential. This is the zero-point field, the quantum vacuum that remains active even at absolute zero temperature, buzzing with virtual particles that flicker in and out of existence. Imagine the fabric of reality as a calm lake surface. What we perceive as solid and stable is actually rippling with unseen energies beneath. Quantum physicists have calculated that a single cubic centimeter of this empty vacuum contains more energy than all the matter in the known universe combined. But here's where it gets even stranger. Some theorists propose this field isn't just background noise, it could be the universe's ultimate hard drive, encoding every event, every thought, every possibility in a holographic web of interference patterns. This idea transforms how we view consciousness. If the zero-point field records information like cosmic film, then human awareness might not be locked inside our skulls but tuned into this universal reservoir. Remote viewers who accurately describe distant locations or future events could be accessing data imprinted in this quantum substrate, much like a radio picking up invisible signals. Studies on intuitive perception show that people can anticipate random events milliseconds before they occur, as if the brain momentarily taps into the zero-point field's probabilistic blueprint. Even déjà vu takes on new meaning. Those eerie moments of recognition might be glitches where our consciousness briefly accesses a parallel data stream in the quantum vacuum. Now consider manifestation, the idea that focused thought can influence physical reality. If the zero-point field responds to observation at the quantum level, then sustained intention might create constructive interference patterns, organizing probability waves into tangible outcomes. This isn't mysticism, it's quantum coherence scaled up. Water crystal experiments by researchers like Masaru Emoto show how intention alters molecular structure, while the Princeton Pear Lab demonstrated that human thought can subtly bias random number generators. These phenomena suggest consciousness interacts with the quantum vacuum's fluctuations, potentially steering reality at microscopic scales that accumulate over time. Morphic fields, a concept biologist Rupert Sheldrake developed, add another layer to this puzzle. Just as zero-point energy permeates space, morphic fields propose that memory isn't stored solely in brains but in invisible patterns of influence that span entire species. When rats in London learn a maze faster because rats in New York mastered it first, or when humans worldwide suddenly innovate similar technologies simultaneously, these could be signs of collective memory resonating through the zero-point field. Indigenous cultures speak of ancestral knowledge flowing through the land. Now physics offers a framework where such connections might literally vibrate in the quantum foam. The boundary between mind and matter dissolves further when we examine how these fields might structure reality. Cymatics reveals how sound shapes matter into sacred geometry, and if the zero-point field vibrates at the universe's fundamental frequency, our thoughts could be harmonic waves rippling through it. Tibetan monks meditating for peace might unknowingly emit coherent frequencies that nudge the quantum vacuum toward harmony, while mass panic could generate discordant waves. This transforms spirituality into a science of subtle energies, where prayer and meditation become technologies for interacting with the substrate of existence itself. What emerges is a vision of reality as a symphony of vibrating fields, where consciousness isn't an isolated phenomenon but a dynamic participant in cosmic information flow. The zero-point field becomes the missing link between Einstein's spacetime and Jung's collective unconscious, a hidden dimension where minds meet, memories merge, and the future whispers to those who know how to listen. Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic fields turns the conventional view of memory upside down. Instead of seeing our brains as isolated hard drives storing personal experiences, he suggests that memory might ripple outward, imprinting itself on invisible fields that connect all living things. Picture a school of fish changing direction instantaneously. No leader, no signal, just a silent synchronization that defies explanation. Sheldrake argues this isn't magic but morphic resonance, a kind of collective memory pool where habits and knowledge become easier to learn as more minds contribute to the field. When rats in one lab master a maze faster because rats on the other side of the world already solved it, or when human inventions like the light bulb appear simultaneously in different countries, these could be signs of information flowing through these hidden channels. The implications are staggering. Skills, traditions, even scientific breakthroughs might not be purely individual achievements, but shared downloads from a cosmic library of accumulated wisdom. Consider how quickly viral trends spread today: memes, dance moves, slang. As if the more people participate, the stronger the morphic field grows, making adoption effortless for newcomers. Ancient indigenous cultures spoke of ancestral memory, the idea that knowledge isn't lost but lingers in the land, waiting to be accessed. Modern labs are now detecting eerie evidence. When monkeys on isolated islands spontaneously learn to wash sweet potatoes after one innovator figures it out, or when worldwide scientific paradigms shift abruptly, as if a critical mass of thinkers suddenly tunes into the same frequency. DNA's role in this web of connection might be even more profound. If morphic fields exist, then our genetic code could be more than a biological blueprint. It might function as a finely tuned antenna, picking up signals from this collective consciousness. Russian experiments in the 1990s showed that DNA reacts to human intention, unwinding or coiling in response to focused thought, even at a distance. This mirrors the junk DNA enigma, the 98% of our genetic material that doesn't code for proteins might not be useless after all. Some researchers speculate it could be a receiver for morphic information, a bridge between individual biology and the broader field of shared memory. The parallels with quantum entanglement are impossible to ignore. Just as particles remain mysteriously linked across space, morphic fields suggest that minds, and the DNA within them, might communicate through a hidden medium, bypassing linear time and physical separation. Indigenous shamans speak of dreaming the world into being, while modern innovators describe breakthroughs arriving in flashes of intuition, as if downloading from a cosmic cloud. Whether through ritual, meditation, or sheer collective focus, humanity might be tapping into a living library where every thought ever thought leaves its imprint, waiting to inspire the next leap forward. Now, imagine DNA not just as a molecule but as a cosmic tuning fork, vibrating in harmony with these morphic patterns. If consciousness truly extends beyond the brain, woven into the fabric of reality itself, then our very cells might be participants in a grand, interconnected dance of awakening, one where the boundaries between self and universe blur into a single, resonant whole. DNA might be far more than just a biological blueprint. It could be a finely tuned instrument, vibrating in harmony with the cosmos itself. Russian scientists made a startling discovery when they exposed DNA to language-modulated laser light and observed the molecule reacting as if it understood the words. Even more bizarre, when they removed the physical DNA sample, the light continued to behave as though the DNA was still there, suggesting some invisible field or imprint remained. This hints that our genetic code doesn't just operate through chemical bonds but communicates through frequencies we're only beginning to detect. Now consider the mystery of so-called junk DNA, the 98% of our genetic material that doesn't code for proteins. Mainstream science long dismissed it as evolutionary debris, but what if it's actually a receiver picking up signals from beyond the physical world? Ancient traditions speak of ancestral memory encoded in the bloodline, while modern researchers like Dr. Fritz Albert Popp have detected biophotons' tiny light emissions streaming from DNA, as if our cells are constantly transmitting and receiving information. If DNA can interact with quantum fields or even space-time itself, then evolution might not be the random process we've assumed. Instead, it could be a dance between biology and consciousness, where genetic mutations aren't just accidents but responses to an invisible dialogue with the universe. This shifts how we view human potential. Remote viewers and intuitives often describe accessing knowledge that seems to originate outside themselves, as if tapping into a cosmic library. Could their DNA be the antenna making that connection? Indigenous cultures perform rituals involving rhythmic chanting and sacred plant medicines, traditions that might subtly alter DNA's vibrational state, temporarily tuning it to higher frequencies of awareness. Even modern tech echoes this idea. Scientists are now using laser light to activate specific genes, effectively programming cells with light waves. The implications are profound. If consciousness can influence DNA, and DNA can interface with the fabric of reality, then our thoughts and intentions might shape not just our biology, but the world around us in ways we're only beginning to glimpse. Which brings us to the next frontier: psychedelics, nature's own keys to higher dimensions. These substances have been used for millennia to dissolve the boundaries of ordinary perception, revealing realms that feel startlingly real yet lie beyond consensus reality. Modern science is now catching up, with brain scans showing psychedelics like psilocybin dramatically reduce activity in the default mode network, the brain's ego center, while amplifying connectivity between regions that don't normally communicate. This neural reorganization mirrors descriptions of mystical experiences, where users report encountering vast intelligences, traversing fractal landscapes, or reliving ancestral memories. What if these aren't hallucinations but glimpses into dimensions our DNA is already wired to perceive? Indigenous shamans describe ayahuasca journeys as meeting the ancestors or conversing with plant spirits, while DMT users consistently report encounters with hyperdimensional beings who convey complex information. The overlap in these experiences across cultures is too consistent to dismiss as coincidence. Research at Imperial College London found that psilocybin induces a brain state resembling near-death experiences, where subjects describe entering a luminous, interconnected realm. If DNA truly functions as a cosmic receiver, then psychedelics might temporarily boost its signal, allowing access to frequencies of reality that are always present but usually filtered out by our ordinary waking consciousness. The connection goes deeper. Studies show that psychedelics can trigger the expression of junk DNA, activating strands that lie dormant under normal conditions. Some researchers speculate this could unlock latent capacities, telepathy, precognition, or even the ability to perceive higher dimensions. Ancient astronaut theorists point to carvings in Mesopotamian and Egyptian temples depicting figures holding pine cones, a symbol modern science associates with the pineal gland, the brain's alleged DMT producer. Whether these substances are tools, sacraments, or interdimensional interfaces, one thing is clear: they challenge the limits of what we consider possible, revealing a universe far stranger and more alive than our everyday senses suggest. Now imagine combining these insights: DNA as a cosmic antenna, psychedelics as tuning dials, and consciousness as the force that binds them. The result is a vision of human potential where biology and spirituality merge, where evolution isn't just a past process but an ongoing collaboration between mind and cosmos. The implications ripple across science, medicine, and our understanding of reality itself. If we're just beginning to grasp how deeply we're woven into the universe's fabric, what other mysteries might our own cells hold, waiting to be unlocked? Psychedelics have long been dismissed as mere hallucinogens, but what if they're actually master keys unlocking doors to dimensions beyond ordinary perception? At the forefront of this mystery is DMT, a molecule our brains produce naturally, often called the spirit molecule, for its ability to catapult users into realms teeming with intricate landscapes and seemingly autonomous beings. These encounters are too consistent across cultures to ignore, from Amazonian shamans meeting ayahuasca's serpentine teachers to clinical trial volunteers describing identical machine elves independent of cultural background. The most baffling part: brain scans at Imperial College London reveal that during these experiences, neural activity doesn't spike as expected, it plummets. This paradoxical quieting suggests consciousness might be tuning out the brain's static to receive signals from somewhere else entirely. Imagine your brain as a radio receiver. Normally, it's tuned to the station of consensus reality, filtering out cosmic white noise. Psychedelics appear to loosen this tuning, allowing reception of frequencies usually blocked. Dr. Rick Strassman's groundbreaking DMT research found that volunteers injected with the compound consistently reported entering a hyperdimensional reality more vivid than waking life, often encountering entities who insisted this realm was more real than our own. Even more compelling, these subjects, ranging from skeptics to scientists, described nearly identical architectural structures and linguistic patterns in their journeys, as if visiting the same objective location. The implications ripple through our understanding of biology and consciousness. The pineal gland, nestled deep in the brain, produces trace amounts of DMT and is rich in light-sensitive cells resembling those in our eyes. Ancient cultures revered it as the third eye, while philosopher René Descartes famously called it the seat of the soul. modern research shows this tiny organ may indeed function as a biological antenna. During near-death experiences or deep meditation, the pineal gland releases surges of DMT, potentially opening a temporary window to dimensions where time and space behave differently. This challenges materialist science at its core. If consciousness can detach from brain activity under psychedelics, perhaps the brain doesn't generate awareness but filters and localizes it. The persistent reports of shared psychedelic landscapes, jungles of vibrating geometry, crystalline cities humming with intelligence, could indicate these realms possess their own independent existence. Some theorists propose their higher dimensional spaces folded beyond our perceptual limits, while others speculate their archetypal domains in the collective unconscious. Either way, the sheer consistency of these experiences across millennia suggests psychedelics aren't just distorting perception, but revealing layers of reality usually hidden by our neurological blinders. Now consider the Mandela effect through this lens, those eerie instances where large groups misremember historical details identically. Could these be glitches where collective consciousness briefly brushes against alternate timelines or simulated realities? If psychedelics demonstrate how fluid perception can be, perhaps reality itself is more malleable than we've been taught, with memory serving as the first crack in the facade of consensus existence. Have you ever been utterly convinced something was true only to discover your memory doesn't match reality? The Mandela effect names this eerie phenomenon where large groups share identical false memories. Named after Nelson Mandela, whom many swore died in prison during the 1980s, despite his actual passing in 2013, these collective glitches range from misquoted movie lines to alternate spellings of childhood brands. The most infamous, the Berenstain Bears, consistently remembered as Berenstein by thousands. Skeptics dismiss this as faulty memory, but what if these discrepancies hint at something far stranger, like our consciousness subtly sliding between parallel realities? Consider how quantum physics allows for multiple timelines branching from every decision. If the many worlds interpretation holds, then every possible version of events exists somewhere in the multiverse. Under this lens, the Mandela effect might not be faulty recall, but residual memories from timelines where events actually unfolded differently. Imagine your awareness momentarily brushing against another version of yourself in a universe where the bears really were spelled Berenstein, or where Darth Vader's iconic line was always, "Luke, I am your father," instead of the actual, "No, I am your father." These aren't just pop culture mix-ups, they could be cosmic breadcrumbs, traces of paths not taken in this reality but lived in others. The implications grow even wilder when examining how these effects cluster around emotionally charged or widely observed events. Why do so many vividly recall a cornucopia in the fruit of the Loom logo that never existed? Or share detailed memories of a Sinbad genie movie called Shazam that studios insist was never made? Some theorists propose these aren't random errors, but synchronization points, moments where collective attention creates resonance between timelines, allowing fragments of alternate histories to bleed through. It's as if reality isn't a fixed recording but an interactive medium, subtly reshaped by the weight of shared belief. Now shift your gaze skyward. If consciousness can intersect with parallel realities, could cosmic events act as catalysts for these shifts? Solar flares, planetary alignments, and even black hole activity emit energy that interacts with Earth's electromagnetic field, the same field that influences human brainwaves. Studies correlating solar storms with spikes in intuitive insights or mass cultural shifts suggest celestial phenomena might temporarily thin the barriers between dimensions. Ancient cultures tracked these cycles meticulously, building stone circles and pyramids aligned to celestial events they believed opened portals to other realms. Modern science might be rediscovering their wisdom not as superstition, but as an intuitive grasp of quantum interconnectedness. The intersection of cosmic forces and consciousness invites a radical rethink of reality's nature. If the universe is a participatory hologram, as some theories suggest, then collective memory errors might be more than mistakes. They could be the universe's way of revealing its fluid, collaborative essence. Every time we encounter a Mandela effect, we're handed a choice. Dismiss it as confusion or consider that reality is far more malleable, far more alive than we've been taught. And if that's true, then the night sky isn't just a backdrop. It's an active player in the dance of awareness, its rhythms syncing with our own in ways we're only beginning to sense. Cosmic rays, those high-energy particles hurtling through space at nearly light speed, might be doing far more than creating auroras in our atmosphere. They could be subtly rewriting the script of human consciousness itself. Studies reveal an uncanny correlation between periods of intense cosmic radiation and historical turning points. The Renaissance, the scientific revolution, the social upheavals of the 1960s. It's as if these invisible particles, originating from supernova and black holes, act as celestial catalysts, sparking collective shifts in creativity, rebellion, and spiritual awakening. Russian scientist Alexander Chizhevsky first noted this pattern a century ago, documenting how solar storms coincided with revolutions and artistic movements, suggesting the sun's activity might literally electrify human thought. Now consider the biological mechanism. When galactic cosmic rays penetrate Earth's magnetic shield, they collide with atoms in our atmosphere, creating showers of secondary particles that rain down on us daily. Research at the CERN laboratory shows these particles can induce subtle mutations in DNA, not destructive, but potentially evolutionary. Some theorists propose this cosmic bombardment might activate dormant, junk DNA, unlocking latent capacities for intuition, empathy, or even psychic perception. Even more intriguing, neuroscientists have detected fluctuations in human brainwave coherence during solar storms, as if our neural networks temporarily sync with the sun's electromagnetic heartbeat. Indigenous cultures from the Maya to the Dogon revered celestial cycles as guides for spiritual initiation. Now, hard science hints they might have been onto something profound. The implications ripple through time. The year 1947, a peak in UFO sightings, also marked an extreme solar maximum. The 1960s counterculture explosion aligned with another surge in cosmic radiation. Today, as we enter a new solar cycle amid unprecedented global transformation, one wonders, are we approaching another inflection point? Some researchers speculate that increased cosmic rays could be nudging humanity toward a threshold of collective awareness, where the boundaries between individual minds grow more permeable. This isn't just poetic speculation. Studies on global consciousness show that during mass meditation events or worldwide crises, random number generators exhibit statistically significant deviations from chance, suggesting a subtle entanglement of human minds at scale. Yet the cosmos doesn't just influence us, we might influence it back. The biocentrism theory flips the script entirely, proposing that consciousness isn't a product of the universe but its very foundation. If life and awareness shape reality rather than passively observing it, then our collective thoughts, especially during periods of heightened cosmic activity, could be actively participating in the universe's unfolding story. The dance between cosmic rays and human evolution might be a two-way conversation, stellar energies stimulating our awakening, and our awakened consciousness, in turn, shaping the fabric of existence itself. This interplay dissolves the old dichotomy between inner and outer, between the personal and the cosmic. The next time you feel a surge of inspiration during a geomagnetic storm or sense a deeper connection to strangers across the globe, consider that you might be feeling the universe thinking through you, a fleeting touch of the cosmic mind brushing against your own. And if that's true, then the greatest revolutions aren't just social or scientific, they're celestial events written in the language of human transformation. Which brings us to biocentrism, the radical idea that life isn't just a passenger in the universe but its architect. If consciousness truly comes first, then the stars, the planets, even the laws of physics might be less like fixed rules and more like echoes of a deeper, more sentient order waiting to be discovered. Biocentrism turns our understanding of reality inside out. What if the universe doesn't give rise to life, but life gives rise to the universe? Stem cell biologist Robert Lanza's radical theory proposes that consciousness isn't a fluke of chemistry, but the very foundation of existence. Imagine a grand cosmic theater where the stage, the props, even the script only solidify when there's an audience to perceive them. This isn't just philosophy. It's a perspective rooted in quantum mechanics observer effect, where particles exist in blurred states of possibility until measured. Lanza takes this further, suggesting that without conscious observers, reality would remain an amorphous soup of probabilities, like a song with no one to hear it. Think of how colors only exist because eyes evolved to perceive light waves, or how sound is meaningless without ears to translate vibrations. Biocentrism argues that space and time work the same way. They're not absolute containers but tools constructed by consciousness to make sense of experience. Picture a video game rendering graphics only in the player's line of sight to save processing power. In this view, the universe operates similarly, collapsing infinite potentials into a coherent world because living observers demand it. The implications shatter materialism's core premise. Instead of brains creating awareness, awareness might be the fundamental field from which brains and everything else emerge. Now consider synchronicities, those uncanny coincidences that feel too meaningful to dismiss as chance. A friend calls the instant you think of them, or you stumble upon a book that answers a question you'd only pondered silently. Biocentrism offers a startling explanation. If consciousness orchestrates reality, then these moments might be whispers from a deeper layer of existence, where thoughts and events intertwine like threads in a cosmic tapestry. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung called this the collective unconscious, a realm where meaning transcends cause and effect. Modern quantum physics echoes this with entanglement, where particles mirror each other across vast distances instantaneously. Synchronicities could be the human-scale version of this phenomenon, hinting that separation is an illusion and everything is subtly connected through consciousness itself. The evidence isn't just anecdotal. Experiments in quantum biology reveal that photosynthesis relies on quantum coherence, plants harnessing particle-wave duality to optimize light absorption. Some scientists speculate that migratory birds navigate using entanglement, sensing Earth's magnetic field through quantum-sensitive molecules in their eyes. If life at its most basic level exploits quantum weirdness, why wouldn't consciousness, the pinnacle of biological complexity, shape reality in equally profound ways? Ancient Vedic texts describe the world as Maya, an illusion projected by Brahman, the universal mind. Biocentrism doesn't dismiss this as metaphor, but suggests it might be literal, a blueprint for understanding existence that science is only now decoding. This perspective transforms how we see our place in the cosmos. If consciousness creates reality, then every observation, every intention becomes a creative act. Artists know this intuitively when their visions materialize into paintings or music. but biocentrism implies we're all artists, co-authoring the universe with every thought and perception. The implications ripple through ethics, ecology, even technology. What happens when we collectively focus our awareness on healing rather than destruction? The answer might lie in the mysterious dance of synchronicities, those cosmic winks reminding us that we're not just passengers in the universe, but its architects. And if that's true, then the next time you experience a meaningful coincidence, don't dismiss it as luck. It might be the universe reflecting back the truth you've always sensed but couldn't prove, that reality is far more malleable, far more alive than you ever dared to dream. Synchronicities aren't just random quirks of probability. They might be the universe whispering in a language we're only beginning to decode. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist who coined the term, described these meaningful coincidences as acausal connections, events tied not by cause and effect but by their shared significance. Picture this: you're thinking about an old friend you haven't seen in years when suddenly their name appears on a passing license plate, a song they loved plays in a cafe, and then they call you out of the blue. Jung believed these weren't accidents but glimpses into the collective unconscious, a hidden layer of reality where all minds intertwine like roots beneath a forest. But what if synchronicities run deeper than psychology? Quantum physics hints that the universe might be far more responsive to consciousness than we've assumed. The observer effect shows particles change behavior when measured, as if reality adjusts itself to the act of observation. If our thoughts can influence quantum states, could they also nudge the larger fabric of existence? Synchronicities might be the ripple effects, subtle nods from the cosmos that our inner and outer worlds are in dialogue. Think of reality as an endless hall of mirrors, where a thought, amplified by emotion or intention, reflects back as an event, a meeting, or an unexpected solution to a problem you've been wrestling with. The strangest part, synchronicities often cluster during pivotal life moments, career shifts, spiritual awakenings, or periods of intense creativity. It's as if the universe leans in when we're at a crossroads, offering breadcrumbs of guidance. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake's morphic resonance theory adds another layer. Habits in nature, and perhaps in human experience, become easier to repeat the more they occur. If enough people report synchronicities around, say, repeating numbers like 1111, could collective attention strengthen the phenomenon? This would explain why certain symbols or numbers seem to carry universal meaning across cultures, as if humanity tunes into the same cosmic frequency. Now shift your gaze to the natural world. Fractals, those infinitely repeating geometric patterns found in ferns, snowflakes, and galaxies, mirror the self-similar nature of synchronicities. Just as a tiny branch resembles the whole tree, a single meaningful coincidence might reflect the larger pattern of an intelligent universe. The Fibonacci sequence, seen in sunflower spirals and hurricane formations, appears in the rhythms of human creativity and even stock market trends. If consciousness is woven into the fabric of space-time, then fractals could be its signature, a visual language showing how the microcosm echoes the macrocosm. This bridges Jung's collective unconscious with cutting-edge science. Neural networks in the brain, the branching of rivers, and the structure of the internet all follow fractal patterns. Some researchers propose that consciousness itself operates fractally, with individual awareness nesting within larger fields of sentience. Ancient mystics depicted this as the as above, so below principle, the idea that the cosmos is holographic, each part containing the whole. When synchronicities unfold, they might be fractal moments where a small event mirrors a grander design, offering a fleeting glimpse into the universe's underlying unity. The takeaway: synchronicities invite us to see reality not as a clockwork machine but as a living, responsive tapestry. whether they're messages from the collective unconscious, quantum echoes of our thoughts, or fractal signatures of a deeper order. They hint that separation is an illusion, and that every choice, every thought, resonates further than we can imagine. Now, imagine scaling this idea up to the structure of reality itself, where the patterns of consciousness and cosmos are inextricably linked. That's where fractals take center stage, revealing a universe far more interconnected, far more alive than we've been taught. Fractals are nature's hidden signature, a geometric code that repeats infinitely, from the branching veins of a leaf to the sprawling arms of a galaxy. Zoom into a romanescope broccoli, and its spirals mirror the whirlpool of a hurricane. Pull back far enough, and the cosmic web of galaxies looks eerily similar to the neural networks in your brain. This self-similarity isn't just visual poetry. It suggests something profound, that the universe operates on a recursive algorithm, where patterns repeat across scales, from the quantum to the cosmic. What if consciousness itself follows this fractal blueprint? Imagine each thought not as an isolated event, but as a microcosm, holographically containing the essence of the whole. Your mind might be less like a computer and more like a lightning storm, a fractal cascade of electrical impulses where every spark reflects the larger pattern. This idea transforms how we see intelligence. If the universe is fractal, then intelligence isn't confined to brains, it's woven into the fabric of reality. Think of how a single acorn contains the instructions to grow an entire oak tree, or how a tiny segment of a hologram can reconstruct the full image. Consciousness might work the same way, each moment of awareness a fractal fragment of a grander, self-aware cosmos. Ancient mystics described this as above, so below, the belief that the microcosm mirrors the macrocosm. Modern science is catching up, with researchers like neuroscientist Carl Pribram proposing that memory isn't stored in specific brain regions but distributed holographically, like a fractal pattern where each part holds the whole. Now consider the placebo effect through this lens. If thoughts can heal or harm the body, as countless studies confirm, it's not just biochemical trickery. It might be evidence of consciousness interacting with the fractal architecture of reality. When a patient's belief in a sugar pill triggers real physiological changes, it suggests that expectation isn't just mental, it's a force that ripples through the body's fractal networks, from neural pathways to cellular structures. Shamans and healers have harnessed this for millennia, using ritual and symbolism to activate the mind's innate ability to reshape matter. The placebo effect isn't an illusion, it's a demonstration of how deeply perception and reality are entangled. This fractal view dissolves the artificial boundary between mind and world. If every thought echoes the universe's recursive pattern, then healing, creativity, even intuition might be about tuning into these natural rhythms. Artists and inventors often describe breakthroughs as moments when they see the whole pattern, suddenly grasping connections that were always there, hidden in plain sight. Fractals suggest that insight isn't linear but holographic, unfolding in layers where the answer was present all along, just at a different scale. So the next time you notice a fractal, whether in a snowflake, a river delta, or the branching neurons of a brain scan, pause. You're not just seeing a pretty shape, you might be glimpsing the universe's operating system, a code where consciousness and cosmos are written in the same recursive language. And if that's true, then the power to shape reality isn't somewhere out there. It's nested within every thought, every intention, every moment of awareness, waiting to unfold its infinite potential. The placebo effect isn't just a medical curiosity, it's a living testament to the mind's staggering power to reshape physical reality. Picture this: a patient with chronic pain receives a sugar pill but is told it's a powerful painkiller. Their brain, convinced of the pill's potency, triggers a cascade of natural opioids and healing responses, often matching the effects of actual medication. This phenomenon isn't rare. Studies show placebos can accelerate wound healing, ease Parkinson's tremors, even shrink tumors in some cases. But here's the revolutionary twist: it's not the sugar pill doing the work. It's the unshakable belief in its power that rewires biology from the inside out, blurring the line between perception and physical law. Now scale this up. If one person's expectation can mend their body, what could millions of aligned beliefs accomplish? History hints at astonishing possibilities. The June bug epidemic of 1962 saw hundreds of factory workers develop identical symptoms: rashes, dizziness, nausea, despite no virus being found. The culprit: mass hysteria, a collective expectation of illness manifesting as physical reality. Conversely, during the Miracle of the Sun in 1917, thousands gathered in Fatima, Portugal, reported witnessing the sun dance and change colors, a shared vision with no astronomical explanation. Whether these events were psychological or mystical hardly matters. They prove that consensus belief can warp reality's fabric, if only temporarily. The implications ripple through quantum physics. Just as the observer effect shows particles behave differently when measured, the placebo effect suggests biology responds to conscious expectation. Stanford researcher Dr. Alia Crum discovered that simply reframing exercise as good for health made treadmill workouts more effective. Participants lost more weight and lowered blood pressure, even though their actual activity didn't change. This mirrors quantum experiments where the experimenter's expectations subtly influence outcomes. The common thread: consciousness isn't a passive observer but an active participant, shaping reality through the lens of belief. Ancient cultures understood this intuitively. Shamans used rituals not just as symbolism but as psychological triggers, aligning community belief to summon rain or heal the sick. Modern medicine is rediscovering this wisdom. In Harvard studies, patients undergoing fake knee surgeries where surgeons merely pretended to operate recovered as fully as those who received actual procedures. The mind, convinced of the ritual's power, orchestrated the body's repair. This raises a tantalizing question. If belief can mend a knee, could it, in theory, regrow a limb? While evidence is scant, the frontier of psychoneuroimmunology shows our thoughts directly influence gene expression, turning healing pathways on or off like a biological light switch. The placebo effect's shadow twin, the nocebo effect, reveals the same principle in reverse. When people believe a harmless substance will harm them, their bodies often comply, developing rashes, headaches, or worse. In one chilling case, a man participating in a drug trial took placebo pills but died after overdosing, his body shutting down in response to pure expectation. This duality underscores consciousness as a double-edged sword. Our beliefs can heal or harm, build or destroy, all without physical intervention. Now, imagine harnessing this power collectively. Meditation experiments like the 1993 Washington, D.C. study, where mass meditation correlated with a 25% drop in violent crime, suggest shared intention might bend societal reality. If individual belief alters biology, could synchronized global consciousness influence weather patterns, political stability, or even the trajectory of celestial events? The answer remains unproven, but the possibility ignites a radical vision that humanity, united by focused awareness, might one day co-create reality on a planetary scale. This brings us to the threshold of life's greatest mystery: what happens when consciousness faces its own extinction. Near-death experiences offer glimpses beyond the veil, where the mind, untethered from the body, reports encounters with luminous beings, life reviews, and dimensions beyond spacetime. If the placebo effect proves consciousness can override biology, these accounts suggest it might survive it entirely, opening a portal to the next frontier of our exploration. Near-death experiences shatter our conventional understanding of consciousness and its relationship to the physical body. Thousands who have hovered at death's threshold report uncannily similar journeys, rushing through tunnels toward radiant light, encountering benevolent beings, even reviewing their entire lives in vivid detail. But here's what defies materialist explanations. Many return with verifiable knowledge they couldn't possibly have acquired through normal means. Blind patients accurately describe surgical instruments used during their resuscitation. Comatose individuals recall conversations that happened rooms away from their lifeless bodies. These aren't hazy dreams, they're precise observations made when brain activity should have ceased entirely, suggesting awareness might operate independently of biological machinery. Consider the case of Pam Reynolds, a musician who underwent a high-risk brain surgery in 1991. Her body was cooled to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, her heartbeat and brainwaves deliberately stopped, a state doctors call clinical death. Yet she later described the bone saw used to open her skull, the operating room staff's specific comments, even the unusual appearance of her own arteries. Her account, meticulously verified by skeptical researchers, implies consciousness wasn't just active when her brain was offline, it was perceiving the physical world from a vantage point outside her body. This aligns with quantum theories proposing that awareness isn't produced by the brain but filtered through it, like a radio receiving transmissions from some fundamental field beyond spacetime. The life review phenomenon adds another layer of mystery. NDErs consistently describe reliving every moment simultaneously, not as a linear replay, but as a holographic experience where they feel both their own emotions and the impact their actions had on others. This mirrors physicist David Bohm's concept of the implicate order, where past, present, and future exist as an undivided whole. If consciousness can access this panoramic view when unshackled from the brain, it hints that time itself might be more like a landscape we normally perceive through a narrow keyhole. Ancient Tibetan Buddhists mapped similar terrain in their Bardo Thodol texts, describing post-mortem states where awareness navigates luminous realms beyond conventional physics. Now shift perspective to the laboratory. The Global Consciousness Project, which analyzes random number generators worldwide, detects statistically significant anomalies during major events that captivate humanity's collective attention, including the deaths of prominent figures. This suggests consciousness might leave an imprint on physical systems even as it transitions beyond bodily form. Meanwhile, quantum experiments demonstrate that particles behave differently when observed, as if reality responds to awareness itself. If subatomic matter is this sensitive to attention, could the radiant beings and transcendent landscapes described in NDs represent interactions with a deeper layer of reality, one where consciousness is the primary currency rather than matter? The implications ripple through our understanding of existence. If mind can persist without brain activity, this challenges materialism's core premise that awareness is merely an emergent property of neural complexity. Instead, we might inhabit a participatory universe where consciousness shapes spacetime rather than the reverse, a notion echoing both cutting-edge physics and ancient wisdom traditions. Those who have glimpsed the beyond often return fundamentally changed, shedding materialistic concerns in favor of compassion and interconnectedness. Perhaps they've brushed against reality's true nature, where separation is the illusion and consciousness the enduring fabric weaving all existence together. Which brings us to the next frontier: how focused intention might directly influence quantum systems. laboratory evidence suggests the mind's influence extends beyond the body, potentially affecting random event generators, biological processes, even the behavior of photons. If consciousness can alter physical reality through sheer attention, the implications for human potential and our place in the cosmos are nothing short of revolutionary. Focused intention might be far more than wishful thinking. It could be a fundamental force sculpting reality at the quantum level. Laboratory studies reveal startling evidence that human consciousness interacts with matter in ways that defy classical physics. Take the renowned Princeton Engineering Anomalies research experiments, where participants influenced random number generators through sheer mental focus, creating statistically significant deviations from chance. These weren't flukes. Over decades, the data showed that collective intention, especially during global events like 9/11 or the New Year's Eve celebrations, could subtly bend machine outputs toward order. It's as if the mind whispers to the quantum foam, nudging probabilities into alignment with its will. Now consider water, the most mundane yet mysterious substance on Earth. Researcher Masaru Emoto's controversial but fascinating experiments demonstrated that water crystals formed intricate, symmetrical patterns when exposed to loving words or music, while harsh tones produced chaotic, broken structures. Skeptics dismissed it as pseudoscience, but later studies using rigorous protocols found similar results. When monks meditated near water samples, spectroscopic analysis revealed measurable changes in hydrogen, bonding the very architecture of H2O rearranged by silent intention. If consciousness can imprint itself on water's molecular dance, imagine its potential effects within our bodies, which are 60% water, or across the vast aqueous networks of our planet. The implications ripple through quantum theory's core mystery, the observer effect. At the subatomic level, particles exist as probability waves until measured, at which point they collapse into definite states. Traditional physics assumes this requires a mechanical detector, but what if conscious awareness itself is the catalyst? Pioneering physicist John von Neumann proposed that the observer's mind completes the quantum measurement chain. This would mean every act of observation, from a scientist's gaze to your morning glance at the sunrise, is a creative act, coaxing fuzzy potentials into concrete existence. Now scale this up to daily life. Those moments when you think of someone and they instantly call, or when a solution appears after focused contemplation, might not be coincidences. They could be micro-collapses of quantum possibilities, shaped by your intentionality. The Global Consciousness Project's data hints that mass meditation events correlate with temporary reductions in global violence, as if synchronized awareness generates a ripple effect through the collective quantum field. Even placebo healing, where belief alone triggers biological repair, aligns with this model, the body responding not just to chemicals but to the mind's expectation of wholeness. This raises a profound question. If individual intention can influence random events or molecular arrangements, what might collective human focus achieve? Indigenous cultures have long practiced rain dances and healing circles, not as superstition but as technologies of intention. Modern experiments with distant healing intention show measurable improvements in patients' health when strangers focus healing thoughts toward them, even across continents. The mechanism remains unknown, but quantum entanglement offers a clue. The phenomenon where particles remain mysteriously linked regardless of distance. If consciousness operates on similar principles, then prayer, meditation, or focused will might be humanity's oldest and most sophisticated quantum tools. Which brings us to the Akashic records, the ancient concept that every thought, action, and event leaves an eternal imprint in a cosmic library of vibrational memory. The Vedas described it as Akasha, the fifth element beyond earth, air, fire, and water, a luminous medium preserving all that was, is, and will be. Modern theorists like Erwin Laszlo propose this could be the zero-point field, that seething quantum vacuum where information never dissipates. Remote viewers accessing past events with uncanny accuracy or prodigies channeling knowledge from unstudied languages might be tapping into this vast informational matrix where consciousness interfaces with the universe's timeless memory. The bridge between quantum intention and Akashic wisdom lies in vibration. Just as a tuning fork resonates with its matching frequency, focused awareness might tune in to specific informational layers within the field. Edgar Cayce, the famed psychic healer, claimed to access medical diagnoses and historical details from this ethereal archive while in trance. Meanwhile, quantum physicists speak of holographic universes where every part contains the whole. Perhaps the Akashic records aren't shelves of ethereal books but interference patterns in spacetime's fabric, waiting to be decoded by minds aligned to their frequency. As we stand at this crossroads of ancient mysticism and cutting-edge physics, one truth emerges: consciousness isn't just observing reality, but actively participating in its creation. Every intention, every thought might ripple through the quantum field like a pebble in a pond, shaping matter, bending probabilities, and inscribing itself into the eternal Akashic tapestry. The boundary between inner and outer, between mind and cosmos, grows thin, revealing a universe far more responsive, far more alive than we ever imagined. The idea that the universe might keep perfect records of every thought, action, and event isn't just spiritual folklore. It's a concept that dances on the edge of modern physics. Theosophy calls this the Akashic Records, an ethereal library where the past, present, and future are etched into the fabric of reality itself. Imagine a cosmic hard drive, vibrating with the echoes of every laugh, every whispered secret, every turning point in history, all preserved in a dimension beyond time. This isn't just poetic mysticism. Quantum physics whispers something eerily similar. David Bohm's Implicate Order suggests that information isn't confined to specific points in space or time, but is woven into the universe's underlying structure, like a hologram where every fragment contains the whole. Now consider the implications for human brilliance. Mozart composed symphonies at 5 years old. Nikola Tesla visualized inventions in perfect detail before building them. Could these flashes of genius be moments where certain minds accidentally or intentionally tapped into this universal database? Remote viewers and psychics who accurately describe distant or future events might not be guessing but retrieving data from the Akashic field. Even déjà vu takes on new meaning, not as a glitch in the brain, but as a fleeting resonance with a moment already inscribed in the cosmic record. But how would such a system physically work? Enter the zero-point field, that seething quantum vacuum where energy never sleeps. Some theorists propose it functions as the universe's ultimate storage medium, with every particle's motion and interaction leaving ripples in this infinite energetic sea. The Vedas described Akasha as the fifth element, a luminous substrate permeating all things. Modern string theory isn't far off, suggesting higher dimensions could host information in ways our 3D brains can't yet fathom. If consciousness is the key to accessing this data, like a password to the cosmos's cloud storage, then meditation, psychedelics, or near-death experiences might temporarily bypass our ordinary limits, granting glimpses into the archive. This bridges seamlessly into the Gaia hypothesis, the radical idea that Earth itself is a self-regulating, conscious system. Just as the Akashic records imply a universe that remembers, Gaia suggests a planet that responds. Picture Earth not as a rock teeming with life, but as a vast, sentient network where oceans, atmosphere, and ecosystems communicate like neurons in a global brain. When forests release chemicals to summon rain, or coral reefs synchronize spawning events across thousands of miles, these aren't just biological processes, they're signs of an intricate, intelligent dialogue. Scientists like James Lovelock observed that Earth maintains conditions for life with eerie precision, as if guided by an unseen hand. Oxygen levels, ocean salinity, even global temperature fluctuate within narrow bands despite cosmic chaos, much like a body regulating its temperature. If the Akashic records are the universe's memory, then Gaia might be its living, breathing embodiment, a planetary-scale consciousness evolving in real time. Indigenous cultures have honored this truth for millennia, speaking of mountains, rivers, and storms as kindred intelligences. Modern experiments add weight. Plants exposed to threats emit electrical signals, while fungal networks transmit information through underground, wood-wide webs. The boundary between geology and biology blurs, revealing a world far more alive, far more aware than we've been taught. Now, layer these ideas together. If Gaia is Earth's conscious expression, and the Akashic records are the universe's memory, then human minds might exist at the intersection, both products and co-creators of this vast, sentient tapestry. Every thought we think, every action we take, could ripple through Gaia's web while simultaneously imprinting itself into the Akashic field. This transforms ecology from a mechanical system to a sacred covenant, where harming the planet isn't just unethical, it's a form of self-erasure from the cosmic record. The ancients warned that forgetting our connection to nature severs our link to divine knowledge. Modern science, in its own language, is starting to echo that warning. What emerges is a vision of reality where consciousness, planet, and cosmos are threads in the same shimmering fabric, one that remembers, responds, and perhaps even dreams through us. The Akashic records and Gaia hypothesis aren't separate theories but different lenses on the same profound truth. The universe isn't just something we observe. It's something we're in conversation with, an intelligent dance of memory and manifestation where every step leaves an eternal mark. What if the ground beneath your feet isn't just rock and soil, but part of a vast, breathing intelligence? The Gaia hypothesis, introduced by scientist James Lovelock, shatters the conventional view of Earth as a passive rock adrift in space. Instead, it paints our planet as a self-regulating superorganism where oceans, atmosphere, and ecosystems collaborate like cells in a body to maintain conditions for life. Consider how Earth's oxygen levels have remained stable at 21% for millions of years, not by chance, but through a delicate dance of photosynthesis, rock weathering, and microbial activity. When carbon dioxide rises, forests expand to absorb it. When temperatures climb, phytoplankton bloom, releasing cloud-seeding chemicals that shade the planet. These aren't isolated processes, they're the workings of a planetary-scale intelligence, fine-tuning itself with the precision of a masterful symphony. But why stop at Earth? If a swirling mass of rock and water can exhibit signs of sentience, what about the blazing stars that cradle it? Stars communicate in their own language, flares, solar winds, and magnetic pulses that ripple across cosmic distances. Our own sun's 11-year cycle isn't just a mechanical clockwork. It's a rhythm that influences everything from satellite communications to the migratory paths of whales. Some astrophysicists speculate that stars might exchange information through neutrino emissions or gravitational waves, forming a galactic neural network far older than humanity. The ancient concept of astrobiology, the idea that celestial bodies themselves might be alive, no longer seems like mysticism, but a frontier of scientific inquiry. Zoom out further, and galaxies themselves begin to resemble neurons in a cosmic brain. The Milky Way's spiral arms rotate at speeds that defy gravitational predictions unless we account for invisible dark matter, a substance that might not just bind galaxies together but facilitate communication between them. Clusters of galaxies exhibit fractal patterns eerily similar to neural networks, with filaments of gas and dust acting as synapses firing across the void. Could supermassive black holes at galactic centers function like nuclei, processing information and emitting jets of energy as cosmic thoughts? The similarities are too striking to dismiss. This vision transforms how we define life itself. Instead of limiting it to carbon-based organisms, we might inhabit a universe where consciousness operates at every scale, from the microbial to the galactic. Indigenous cultures have whispered this truth for millennia, speaking of mountains and rivers as ancestors, of stars as celestial teachers. Modern science, in its quest to quantify the cosmos, might be circling back to the same revelation, that the universe isn't just full of life, it is life, a single, self-aware tapestry woven from stardust and spacetime. Now, as we stand at the threshold of this unified vision, one question lingers. If the cosmos is truly alive, then what role do we, tiny, temporary sparks of awareness, play in its grand story? The answer might lie not in separation, but in symbiosis. Just as mitochondria once merged with larger cells to create complex life, human consciousness could be an emerging layer in Earth's and perhaps the universe's ever-evolving intelligence. Our thoughts, our technologies, even our struggles might be part of a planetary nervous system waking up to itself, a single note in the universe's unfolding song of self-discovery. And so, as we weave together these 30 mind-altering theories, a breathtaking tapestry emerges. From the holographic universe to Gaia's whispers, from quantum entanglement to the Akashic records, the message is the same. Reality is far stranger, far more interconnected, and far more alive than we've dared to imagine. The boundary between observer and observed, between self and cosmos, dissolves into a single, shimmering truth that consciousness isn't just in the universe. The universe is in consciousness, and every question we ask, every mystery we chase, is the cosmos turning its gaze inward, exploring the depths of its own infinite wonder through the lens of our fleeting, fragile, and extraordinary human mind. The most profound revelation hidden within these 30 theories isn't just about the nature of reality, it's about our role within it. Imagine the universe not as a cold, indifferent machine, but as a living, breathing tapestry where consciousness, space, and time are threads of the same shimmering fabric. Quantum physics shows us that particles only define their properties when observed. Black holes scramble information into holographic patterns that might encode sentience. Ancient mystics spoke of a unified field where mind and matter merge. These aren't disconnected ideas, they're pieces of a puzzle, each pointing toward a radical truth. The universe doesn't just contain consciousness, it is consciousness, and we are its eyes, hands, and voice. Think of it like a cosmic dance. In a hologram, every fragment reflects the whole image. In quantum entanglement, particles communicate instantaneously across light years. In meditation, individuals report dissolving into boundless awareness. These phenomena share a common thread. The illusion of separation melts away, revealing a deeper interconnectedness. Physicist David Bohm called this the implicate order, a hidden dimension where all things are enfolded into unity. The implications are staggering. If consciousness is fundamental, then your thoughts aren't just fleeting sparks in the brain. They're ripples in the universe's own self-awareness, shaping reality as surely as gravity bends starlight. This shifts everything. For centuries, science treated the universe as a clockwork mechanism and consciousness as a curious byproduct. But what if we've had it backward? What if consciousness is the foundation and space-time the emergent property? Consider near-death experiences, where people report encounters with luminous beings and life reviews outside their bodies. Or psychedelic journeys, where users describe merging with fractal intelligences. Even the placebo effect, where belief alone heals, hints that the mind isn't confined by the body's limits. These aren't anomalies, they're clues to a paradigm where the observer and the observed are partners in creation. Now, consider the practical power of this perspective. If reality is participatory, then your intentions, your focus, even your unanswered questions aren't just personal, they're cosmic. Indigenous cultures performed rituals to summon rain or heal the sick, not as superstition, but as technologies of interconnection. Modern experiments show that group meditation can lower crime rates or synchronize random number generators. The common denominator, collective belief bending probability. This isn't magic, it's physics waiting to be understood, a reminder that the universe responds not just to physical forces but to the quality of our attention. The most exhilarating part, this model doesn't diminish science, it expands it. Imagine a future where we stop asking, how does consciousness arise from matter? And start exploring, how does matter arise from consciousness? Laboratories might one day measure how focused intention influences quantum systems or maps the resonance between minds across continents. Artists could collaborate with the universe itself, their creativity channeling patterns from the Akashic field. Healing could become an act of co-creation, where doctor and patient align with the body's innate wisdom. The boundaries between spirituality and science, once rigid, would dissolve into a unified pursuit of understanding. But this isn't just about grand possibilities, it's about everyday transformation. When you pause to truly listen to a friend, you're not just exchanging words, you're weaving the universe's connective tissue. When you marvel at a sunset, you're not just a spectator, you're the cosmos witnessing its own beauty. Even your moments of doubt or struggle are part of the fabric, friction points where reality evolves through your engagement. This perspective doesn't erase life's challenges, but it reframes them as sacred collaborations, invitations to grow not just as individuals but as cells in a waking cosmic body. The journey through these theories leaves us with a humbling and electrifying truth. We are far more than passengers on this cosmic ride. We're co-pilots, artists, and architects, our awareness both the brush and the canvas. The universe whispers to us through synchronicities, dreams, and the quiet pull of intuition, not as cryptic riddles but as love letters from a deeper self. To embrace this isn't to abandon logic, it's to expand it, to step into a reality where mystery isn't the enemy of understanding but its most thrilling frontier. The next chapter of human evolution won't just be about exploring outer space, but inner space, the infinite landscapes where consciousness and cosmos dance as one. As we stand at the frontier of these revelations, one truth emerges. The universe is far stranger and more interconnected than we imagined. These theories aren't just intellectual exercises, they're invitations to expand how we live, love, and perceive existence. Whether through meditation, science, or curiosity, each of us can probe these mysteries. The journey doesn't end here. Subscribe for deeper dives and share your thoughts below. The cosmos is listening. Think back to the first time you gazed at the night sky, feeling that humbling sense of wonder. What if that awe wasn't just a fleeting emotion, but a glimpse of something deeper, a recognition that you're not separate from the cosmos, but a conscious expression of it? Every theory we've explored, from the holographic universe to Gaia's intelligence, whispers the same revolutionary idea. The boundaries we take for granted between self and world, mind and matter, past and future, are far more permeable than we've been taught. This isn't just philosophy, it's a call to reimagine daily life. When you meditate, you might be tuning into the quantum vacuum's infinite potential. When you feel a sudden connection to a stranger, that could be entanglement operating at the human scale. Even the synchronicities we dismiss as coincidence might be the universe's way of winking back at us, reminding us we're participants in a grander story. The implications ripple through everything: how we treat the planet, how we relate to one another, even how we define what's possible. Science and spirituality, once seen as opposing forces, are now converging on truths that mystics intuited millennia ago. The Maya spoke of the cosmos as a living, breathing entity. Quantum physicists describe a participatory universe where observation shapes reality. These aren't contradictions, they're different languages describing the same breathtaking terrain. The choice isn't between reason and wonder, it's about embracing both, letting them guide us toward a more expansive understanding of existence. So where do we go from here? The answer lies in curiosity, the courage to question, to explore, to sit with the unknown. You don't need a lab or a monastery to begin. Start by noticing the patterns in your own life, the dreams that linger, the intuitions that prove true, the moments when time seems to bend. Keep a journal, join a community of seekers, or simply sit under the stars and let the vastness speak to you. The universe isn't just out there, it's within you, waiting to be discovered. This video is just the beginning. Hit subscribe to join us as we dive deeper into these mysteries, from the science of consciousness to the edges of space-time. Drop a comment below. Which theory resonated most with you? Have you experienced moments that defy conventional explanation? The conversation doesn't end when the video does. It's alive, evolving, and you're an essential part of it. After all, the greatest discoveries aren't just found in equations or ancient texts. They're unfolding in the quiet spaces between thoughts, in the connections we forge, and in the shared realization that reality is far more magical than we ever dreamed. And remember, the next time you look up at the sky or inward at your own awareness, you're not just observing the universe, you're the universe observing.